There are words I can understand, but not fully feel. And for a long time, I didn't know what to do with that. What would you do with the words you don't know? The most convenient way to find the definition would be to use Google Translate or dig through the humongous Cambridge dictionary to find the meaning. Perhaps, just like my dad always said, I could read through the sample sentences to see how the words are used in context. You never understand the word just by staring at the definition, he would say. Sure, the sentences were so much more enjoyable than the definition itself. Rereading the sample sentence after understanding the meaning sort of was a better way to jump through the boring dictionary vividly. Meanwhile, the game element of gambling is another feature that exacerbates the gambling problem. Exacerbates. That word kind of reminds me of black ace cards. So I would associate the black with the situation getting worse. But in this case, I certainly knew these words. If anyone asked me if I could understand what it means, I would say, yes, of course I know that word, but very hesitantly. I knew and could use those words without needing to ask ChatGPT. The one thing I didn't know was I would never be able to understand the value the word retains. I would never feel the context built through 1,000 years and delicacy in which the word was used within the culture. This was clearly not what I was expecting, because I opened Greek lessons with the pride of reading the Nobel Prize winner's syntax in my mother tongue. This book is Greek lessons, basically learn about Greek, by Hangang, the winner of 2025 Nobel Prize winner in literature. She was also one of the first South Korean author to win the Nobel Prize. As if rewarded for enduring also notable books that were not originally written in Korean, I was so ready to relish the prose as it was written. I was always upset about how I cannot fully feel how the words were originally written in French or German. Despite the warning that her stories would be hard to follow or read lightly, I was expected to resonate with the vulnerability and the historical traumas she wrote from, context I believed I partially shared with her. I opened up the book and then this word catches my gaze. 결정. 결정 means decision in Korean. It is a beginner to intermediate level vocab used very often in daily life. Did you 결정 what do you want to eat for lunch today? I certainly owned that word for sure. But 결정 is also a homonym. It can be interpreted as a very distinct vocabulary. This is the excerpt from Greek lessons. 어마어마하게 무거운 그 언어의 결정이 그녀의 더운 심장에 꿈틀거리는 심실 가운데 차디찬 폭약처럼 장전되는 꿈을 꾸었다. This also means she dreamed that the immensely heavy crystallization of that language was loaded like a freezing explosive right into her warm heart, into the middle of his twitching ventricles. I gave up. This is a really, really heavy vocab, wow. I closed the book cover and had to take a moment. I left Korea like 8 years ago. Maybe I should, I made an excuse like that. That it was a very beautiful prose, but I couldn't stop rereading each sentence to draw the images from the text. And I also felt the invisible boundary between the phrases. 결정 also means crystal. It is certainly a more advanced or scientific vocabulary rather than being used in everyday conversations. I knew that word. I liked how beautiful it was, and I adored how immediately the word 결정 can enrich the prose. But I never owned that word. I could not fully feel how heavy the crystallization of that language was. Korean has more homonyms, or words with double meanings, than English. Hanja letters, Chinese characters used in Korean language, are similar with the Latin roots in English, in that they carry the meaning within the characters themselves. Many Korean books have grade shaded footnotes to indicate which meaning is intended when the word has a double meaning. Tracing the gray shaded hanja with my finger, that feeling worsened. Unlike the curved Greek letters, since the book is about learning Greek, whose meanings I could only guess, I could pronounce those words but not read them. Dizzily typed strokes and lines of Chinese letters hid beneath the words I had always considered mine. As I flipped the pages, I was madder to see hanja more than Greek, even though I couldn't understand. In Greek lessons, the nameless woman begins to learn Greek to rediscover her words after losing them once, finding peace in a dead language that becomes a silent refuge from her struggles. She then meets her Greek teacher, whose identity is split between German and Korean. As he shares his story while she responds with silent presence, I resonated deeply with the quiet connection the language can provide us. Do you know how I know the summary of the book? It's not Spark Notes, but I actually did finish the book, yay. I believed I would never find peace in hanja, so I faced the letters, looking them up one by one, and begin to realize how concisely they expressed meaning, how inseparable they were from Korean itself. I still struggle to read hanja. I don't like hanja. But now I expect I will continue to hesitate over this unfamiliar strokes whenever I return to Korean literature. Yet that struggle taught me how to approach language with patience and ambiguity and attention to the history embedded in words. I felt like I could try to own the word 결정 with both meanings after closing the book cover. Korean is proudly my first language. When I was living in Poland and went to an international school there, I was proud of translating for my Korean friends, but also I was jealous of my other friends speaking Polish. When I came to the States and was on my journey to own the words such as exacerbates, I wished I was better in English and prayed to speak English better every single day. Whenever I was hesitating to respond in Spanish, whenever I was having conversations with my Spanish teacher, I hoped I was better at Spanish. But I guess maybe I should just keep on trying. I'm talking in English in front of you. I started to recognize certain words from my favorite Spanish songs, and I think I kind of own the word 결정 now. Letters had reshaped themselves to heal the clauses I had lost. Thank you.